Guys, this is why the people with vision, who wrote the Lee County Plan back in 1989, decided that this town, called Alva, should remain Lee County's sanctuary of rural living. Development can happen in Lee County, but not here. Here we go. This is Stacey Glenn. She lives in Alva. There are only two types of Alva residents. Those who've been planted here for generations, and those who purchased here because this is exactly the life they were looking for.
I made a video about Alva, and a lot of my friends that I grew up with back home in Kansas said, that's just like Kansas. I grew up in a small town, everyone I knew around me, and it was a wonderful way to grow up, like feeling safe and having space and just knowing your neighbors and having roots.
And I grew up in a beautiful farm town in New Jersey called Scotch Plains. When we got there, it was a farm town, but one by one, farmers sold out, neighborhoods went up. It happened so gradually, it kind of crept up on us. Although it wasn't terrible, we looked around one day and realized we don't live in the same place anymore. The people here have such an attachment.
Yes.
Why? What are they holding on to?
They're holding on to the virginity of the land, the sanctity of the land, holding on to what it was. This is the last frontier of Lee County, for where you have 273 acre parcels of pasture land that are just grazing cattle in prime areas.
Back then in New Jersey, I don't think we had the foresight of seeing what happens in other towns. So I think we just kind of unknowingly let it happen. But in 1989, the writers of the Lee Plan had vision. And they said, we need to put in writing that this will all remain Alva.
My kids are happy here. The ability to be on 5 acres and have a ranger that they can just ride all over the property. They can just run around and have farm animals and do whatever they want.
In the last year or so, as the threat of redevelopment is now starting to become a reality, more and more of the people of Alva are becoming engaged with the process and the Lee County Plan, and starting to hold the powers that be to some measure of accountability. They're saying this isn't the plan. Let's stick to the plan. We're all here based on the plan that you wrote.
Once upon a time, there was something called Lee Plan, where a bunch of people sat in a room and decided what Lee County was going to look like in the future.
The people of Alva love having a city close by. It's so many things they don't have. They love development.
And they dedicated Alva to being a sanctuary, a rural area that shall be preserved.
But they also know that the vision of the plan was exactly right, to keep Alva as a window into the past. With so many people moving to Florida, developers are clawing at this land. They're sitting on a fortune, but what the people of Alva see as a fortune, money can't buy. Their fortune isn't money. Their fortune is this kind of happiness. And if they sell, they've sold their happiness.
Everyone's holding on to that because that is their childhood and their memories of growing up in this area and driving by those winding pasture roads every single day. And they don't want it to change and become development. And I don't blame them.
This is Alva's moment. Right now is Alva's moment. All they really have to do is continue to come together and always say no. You see, the more things build up, the more things evolve from the way they used to be, the more novel and beautiful a life like this becomes. There was a time when this was novel and beautiful, but the more things become like this, the more this becomes novel, rare, beautiful, irreplaceable. Imagine that. They created their fortune by developing nothing.
Just genuine, good people that are your neighbors.
Good luck, people of Alva.
All of Southwest Florida used to look like this.
We'll see you next week.